Scottish Tales, by John Thomas Mawson. 7. How to Hold the Fort. Or, How Edinburgh Castle Was Taken. To whom do you belong? Are you for Christ or the world? It is well that in this matter your testimony should be distinct and plain, for there are many who would like to be on the right side, but love the wrong. They are ready to acknowledge Christ in a certain measure, but do not care to make a clean cut with the world. Whichever side seems, for the moment, to offer the best advantage is the side on which they are found. The well-known story of the Armourer of Perth shall illustrate. King Robert III was on a visit to that town, and a desperate feud between the Clan Key and the Clan Chutton was to be settled in his presence. 30 combatants were chosen from each clan, and these were to try their skill, blade to blade, until all on one side or other were slain. The space was cleared, and the fight about to commence, when one of the chosen champions was seized with fear, and, breaking away from his fellows, plunged into the River Tay, swam across, and escaped. It seemed as though the fight would not take place, when the Armourer of Perth presented himself before the king. "I will take the coward's place," he said. "And on which side will you fight?" asked the king. "On either side, for half a mark, please your majesty," was the armourer's reply. And so the fight commenced. The armourer went into it, laying about him here and there, on either side, for half a mark. Now this will not do in Christian warfare, for Christ has said, "He that is not with me is against me," and you are surely on one side or the other. To belong to Christ is to be safe forever. To be on his side is to be on the side of blessing and victory, for he who was victorious at Calvary shall soon subdue every foe beneath his feet. This is the time in which to bow to him and own that you are his forever. Then you will be freed from Satan's domination, and, instead of the citadel of your heart being held by the world and sin, the banner of the Lord will float above it. Now, if you belong to Christ, you will need to be watchful, for Satan is a subtle foe, and, though he can never again hold you within his power, to destroy your soul, yet he will seek, and that constantly, to introduce something into your heart which will spoil your joy and mar your testimony for Christ. In the stormy days of Scotland, 5 or 6 centuries ago, Edinburgh Castle often changed hands. At one time the flag of St. George would float proudly over its battlements, and at another the banner more pleasing to Scottish eyes waved in the breeze. Edward I of England held it for a while by a strong garrison, but it was retaken in the reign of Edward III. By an extraordinary piece of strategy in the year 1341. Sir William Douglas, the Black Knight of Hiddlesdale, was the chief actor in this affair, and he with others as shrewd as himself planned a bold and subtle raid upon the castle. They knew that the governor of the castle loved spiced wines and good fare. So one of them, disguising himself as an English merchant, gained admittance to the castle, and producing a bottle of wine told the governor that he had a cargo of it lying in the firth, which he wanted to sell. The price suited the governor's pocket very well, and the wine suited his palate better, so he ordered the whole cargo to be delivered at the castle, but early in the morning, said he, before those rascally Scots are moving. At the appointed hour a cart laden with barrels and hogsheads was driven up to the castle gates by the merchant and 12 sailors, who were, however, armed men in disguise. They gained admittance without delay, but no sooner were they inside the walls than they upset the cart, and in the confusion which followed made short work of the porter and sentinels. A shrill blast from the horn of one of them brought Douglas and a band of followers through the open gate, for they had been hiding near awaiting the signal. A sharp conflict and the garrison was overpowered, and Sir William Douglas was master of the castle. This story illustrates how Satan works for the overthrow of those who belong to the Lord Jesus. You have owned him as your Lord, and his flag waves over the citadel of your hearts. Take care that Satan does not succeed in introducing anything which will cause defeat. He knows your tastes and tendencies and is well acquainted with all your weaknesses. He will tempt you by those things which you like best and which are most likely to deceive. Sir William Douglas deceived the governor of the castle by that brand of wine to which he was most partial, so Satan will, if he can, induce you to open your heart's door, and he will soon bring about your defeat. Very small things may do this. It is the thin end of the wedge that eventually splits the mighty beam, the little foxes that spoil the vines. By one bottle of wine the governor was deceived, so that the English lost Edinburgh Castle. Do not imagine that you can trifle with the things that the world and Satan can offer. If they gain an entrance it will be very difficult to turn them out again. The castle of Linlithgow was on one occasion taken by the Scots, and in the following manner. A sturdy farmer and his sons appeared before the gates with a cartload of hay. It was what they were needing within the castle, and they readily opened the gates. No sooner had they done so than from beneath the hay there leaped armed men. An attempt was made to drop the portcullis, but this they could not do, for the wily farmer had stopped the cart beneath it. Your only chance of safety is dependence on the Lord. He alone can give you wisdom to discern between what is right and what is wrong. The scriptures tell us that Satan transforms himself into an angel of light, and if you are to be saved from his snares you must have greater wisdom than your own. Fear not, there is the throne of grace to which you may boldly go, and find mercy and grace to help in time of need. Watch well the gates of your heart. Eye gate and ear gate always need to be kept by watchful sentinels. Finally, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Let these things which are the things of God and Christ fill your thoughts. Admit these things, and these alone, to your mind and heart, and the God of peace shall be with you. Philippians 4 verses 8-9. Then peace, joy, and victory will be constantly yours. You will be able to hold the fort, and to keep the flag flying for the one who loved you and gave himself for you.